As we've probably all seen over the last 24 hours, Arsenal and RB Leipzig are in discussions about a possible payment structure regarding the transfer of Benjamin Sesko. The player's release clause is set at over 80 million euros. Moving on from that, we did see yesterday Fabrizio Romano was the first one to say that, we're in concrete talks to sign the young Slovenian international who's obviously at Leipzig, and basically said Arsenal, in terms of Mikel Arteta, the recruitment staff and the management, are all united in that we want Cesco. I mean, we've been linked with him for the best part of a year. Allegedly, Berta is in full agreement with Mikel Arteta that he should be Arsenal's priority striker. There wasn't much of a disagreement, says Team News and Ticks. Berta talking to Viktor Gyokeres' camp was simply to keep options open. Fair enough. So in the grand scheme of things, nothing has really changed. Cesco, based on last summer, it was a case of picking up where we left off with him and Zubimendi. And to be honest, I'll get onto it, but I would have preferred Gyokeres, even though you lot know I'm a big fan of Cesco. But it was clearly showing an ability to pivot, because let's be honest, there's been a couple of seasons where we signed some good players. We've obviously left ourselves short in the last two windows, but we get into that scenario where we really smash the like button, want a player. We don't get them sometimes, and then we're like, who are we going to sign? We've got no ability to pivot. We need that. We need to keep our tabs and options open, people. We also know that talks have started naturally with Cesco's camp people. Apparently, Leipzig have given Mikel Arteta and Andrea Berta, and I guess Arsenal, permission to have these talks again in terms of, the salary and the wage demands and all of that kind of stuff, as well as obviously a transfer fee and the necessities in getting this deal done. Now, it's very conflicting because Romano has allegedly said, despite Benjamin Sesko contact, Arsenal are still considering Gyokeres. Probably if something goes left with Gyokeres, with Cesco, like last year, he had a change of heart. I don't want to leave at this moment in time, or he might want to go somewhere else. Then you move for a Gyokeres, and I wonder where Gyokeres ends up. He's still linked technically with Arsenal. Obviously, we're probably not going to get him, or who knows, man? Do you think we could get two strikers? I know I'm dreaming. He's linked with Chelsea, who have just got who are going to be in the Champions League. He's actually linked with Paris Saint-Germain, and in the last 72 hours, aggressively to Juventus, people. Some go as high as to say his price tag is set at 92.5 million. We're going to circle back on that in a second, but apparently we've been offered a free run at Cesco and have a free run at the transfer. Leipzig are desperate to sell the 85 million striker. Regardless of how this season going into it would have panned out for Leipzig, this probably would have been his last year. Him and Xavi Simons obviously are going to be sold. Leipzig are not in Europe in any capacity. There's probably going to be some. Apparently, Leipzig would love to sell Cesco to Arsenal next week. The Bundesliga club have told the Slovenian forward 21 they're looking for a quick sale so they can start spending the cash at the start of the window. Now, naturally, we want signings in early. I'm not sure when Leipzig's tour of Brazil, they're having like an off-season kind of tour in Brazil, when that's done. But either Arsenal got to send delegates out there and get a medical done, or we got to wait for this 21-year-old to return to London, people. Allegedly, the situation is complicated because Arsenal are looking at Cesco and Gyokeres and are extremely unlikely to sign both, as they also need to strengthen elsewhere. Arsenal could even prioritize signing the in-demand 70 million rated Gyokeres, meaning Arteta's search for a striker could turn into a saga. Apparently, Arteta wanted to sign him both last summer and in January. Leipzig did speak once again with Cesco this week and told him he could leave. The German club are hoping for a deal of 85 million. They're likely to get nearer to 60. Currently, he's injured, people, and won't actually play against Santos, or didn't play against Santos, better yet, this week. As I mentioned, his team are currently in Brazil. 21 goals and 6 assists in 45 appearances, 13 of which came in the league, people. He's got 16 goals in 41 caps for his national team. He's got a total of 39 goals and 8 assists in 87 appearances since joining RB Leipzig from RB Salzburg in 2023. Zubimendi, as we know, is set for a medical, people. Now, again, when I look at the whole structure of the payments, apparently the Bundesliga side will give more favorable terms to any team willing to pay more money for him. This could be advantageous to any team stretching to raise immediate funds to sign the player. Although it's worth noting that it will have little immediate impact on the FFP situation due to accountancy methods used by teams. For a club like Man United, who have been linked with him, that does not want to part with 80 million euros in one immediate lump sum, and obviously they've just got Cunha, it may be seen as an attractive option to pay in multiple installments. This equally applies to Chelsea and Arsenal. Leipzig are hoping a Premier League club will take up this option because they want to sell Cesco for the highest fee, naturally. Now, this is off topic, but stay with me for a second, people. Apparently, there's currently no rumblings of frustration from the Arsenal board regarding Arteta. He's extremely well liked and respected, and the talk is that he has to and talk that he has to win a trophy next season is somewhat overblown. Now, I don't doubt the players, and I'm more criticize Arteta in his methods, but I think he wants to win the league title or a trophy. Are we as aggressive in all fragments as a football club as we would have liked? Because unfortunately, what's going to go against Cesco, and I feel where you isolate him, the man's 21. He's clearly somewhat of an unpolished striker. He's got potential. I don't know if he's going to realize it or whatever, but he's 21. Clearly in the footballing world, they rate him, whether it's going to work out or not. Clearly is a good forward. And for a young man that's moving to a big club like Arsenal, 21 years of age, you're going to have to naturally give someone a bedding in period. And I think many fans would understand that, right? Let me know if you disagree. But if you park that and you give him sympathy, it's more the frustration with the collective. Fans are becoming impatient. We are flirted with success, semi-finals, quote, not so much this season, but league title challenges we've not got over the line. And based on the bullish language we've been accustomed to hearing in the last few years, we kind of want signings that go that match that, which Gyökeres, Sesko could sign and be a success. Gyökeres could sign and be a success. Equally, both could flop. But Gyökeres is clearly older, more significantly rounded. What you see is kind of what you get. I know people will say, and there is scope if Cesco can be the guy. He's 21, he's got more years in the tank. But I'm not being funny. Gyökeres is 26, turning 27, right? That's even if he does it for 5 years, really. I don't know, because Arteta's track record of attackers in this period, within that next 5 years, are we really not going to sign more attackers or a striker? And if Gyökeres, apologies, can deliver in that period, who cares, essentially? What I would say is, as I said, that is unfair to Cesco. But for the collective club, in terms of the recruitment and win now mode, if you think Cesco's the guy for win now next season where we need to bring something great, people have to hold it. But there's no immediate pressure here based on that, people. And you also, by the same article, I did cover this before in Gunner Blog, they said Kai Havertz is still going to start the season as the number one choice. I understand that to a degree, but quote unquote, if you're going to sign a striker, a talismanic figure, fans and myself, we want him to play, of course, adaptation period and all of that. But that just tells me you might have two rotationary options in Kai Havertz and Cesco. Gyökeres is probably going to be, the talisman, and I don't know what you do with obviously Cesco, but I mean, you'd imagine we've watched a lot of strikers, not just Cesco or Gyökeres, but clearly we're convinced on Cesco, not just in terms of goals and his potential and how he can help us in the short, medium, and long term, but all the other assets and facets of what Mikel Arteta wants from a striker, people. If we win, great. If not, you have to hold that. Apparently, Chelsea have joined Juventus in making a formal inquiry with Sporting over the signing of Gyökeres, who is also wanted by Arsenal, people. And again, I have covered this, but Juventus and Chelsea allegedly have been thrown into the mix. Although he's older, he also, and in my opinion, more experienced and more rounded, and obviously 54 goals in 52 games is crazy. Gyökeres is actually cheaper. I know resale value and all of that stuff, but he's cheaper. I don't know for his wage demands, but in terms of a fee, he seems cheaper. He's more all-rounded. He's more win now mode. And we all know Sporting will let him go for 55 to 70 million. Arsenal, Juventus, Chelsea, Man United are still linked with him. And there's probably a bunch of other clubs. We've been linked with Julian Alvarez. I'm not going to waste you lot's time, people. We know we're not getting Julian Alvarez. It is what it is. Would you like to see Arsenal sign Cesco? Let me know your thoughts, people. Any criticisms, any praises or whatever. Now, we've heard Zubimendi could be probably the first through the door. Hopefully, Cesco and Zubimendi arrive. We've obviously heard this week that all parties are relaxed about the scheduling of the medical. The bids have been agreed. Paperwork is being completed. And apparently, it's moving in the right direction. Apparently, the Real Sociedad chief has urged Zubimendi to snub Arsenal, people. Let's see specifically what's been said. Zubi is the only player we have spoken to. Clubs have asked us, but no player has told us they want to leave. We've told Martin to go to the national team calmly, to think about it, and we'd like him to stay. Fair enough. You're not going to say anything different. Of course, you would like your guy to stay. We know there are several options. Something may come to fruition or not. I don't see it happening in the short term. We don't see it that way. So we have to wait and see, people. I would love for him to stay at Sociedad for a lifetime, but at the same time, since he's so good, our duty in that case is to be prepared in case he ever leaves Real Sociedad. But I'd also like to remember a little about what happened with him here last summer, and for me at least, it's something that will always stay with me and for which I'll always be grateful. Fair play. Sociedad have become strong in doing things well and not needing to sell. From what the board and the president tell me, that's the situation right now. What we're very clear about is that we want to improve the team, and we're clear that we're able to do so. Fair play. And we know they went out of the Europa League in the last 16. It's been a very difficult season. Roberto Alabi's left. They've sacked the gaffer. Bit like Cesco. It's been a turbulent kind of year. I want to ask you lot as well. What is it with Mikel Arteta and Sociedad? I know he's from that regional surrounding regions of Spain, but he's trying to get all the gang together. You know, Odegaard, Zubimendi, Marino's there. I mean, Isaac, it's not too late to say you want to leave, you know, and maybe Gyokeres can come in as well. Of course, I'm dream chasing there, people. So it is what it is. For what it's worth, on the Zubimendi front, Real Madrid apparently are still trying to hijack Arsenal's move to sign Zubimendi. Xabi Alonso's playing a role in trying to turn the player's head. They're linked with Angela Steeler. So I think the broader conversation is they probably want a midfielder, people. Now, we did see yesterday, and I did cover this, Gabriel Magalhaes is close to agreeing a new long-term deal with the club. Bert has been in talks since March. Great stuff. Player of the season, in my opinion, could potentially be a captain. It's a shame that he couldn't be part of the Real Madrid game because he deserved it. He's come a long way from the Bozo gene to the mistakes to certain fans saying Pablo Mari's better. Some fans were saying, oh, he's the first one to leave when Mikel Arteta, you know, he's the first one Mikel Arteta is going to sell. Calafiori coming in is bad news, yada, yada, yada. Interestingly, though, apparently Romano has said it's a 3-year deal. Now, what? He's 27, 28. So are we now looking for that replacement? Is he... Because I actually think Gabriel Magalhaes' head has been turned a couple of times. Nothing to do with Arsenal necessarily, but going to, you know, Saudi and getting paid and whatnot. 3-year deal. Maybe there's an option of another one, but 3-year deal don't really sit right with me. Obviously, if you're Magalhaes, you might have wanted 5 years because security. You might have wanted less. You know, in the next 12 to 8, well, really 18 months, depending on where he's going, we're going to have to look at this again. And obviously, I love Gabriel Magalhaes. The age thing, I know fans look at it. Look at Van Dijk. Van Dijk, obviously, he's older and you can see it, but he's still one of the top centre backs in his old age. And he signed a new deal at Liverpool, and they'd have been vexed if he left. If Magalhaes is still playing to a great standard, where are we at with that? Can never stop future-proofing. We need to carry on. I think the best news is that Berta has actually sold his first player, people. It's over between Arsenal and Marquinhos as Brazilian winger joins Cerezo on a deal until 2028. Berta's not going to sleep a wink. Now, where Garcia's linked names concern, people, every article brings up something new. This has said Barcelona in pole position to sign him. This has said Newcastle are in pole position to sign him, with Barcelona extremely unlikely. This has said Real Madrid want Garcia if Lunin leaves. So I don't know if he'd probably be the long-term heir to Courtois, but I don't know if he'd be the first choice target with a World Cup coming up and you ain't in the Spain squad at the moment. Manchester City, Arsenal, Newcastle, Leverkusen, Napoli, and Inter apparently are all interested in Garcia. Apparently, Barcelona remain the favourites. We have this week been linked with Mitoma of Brighton and Morgan Gibbs-White. Anyone fancy that? Apparently, Kudus is no longer considered unsellable as West Ham look to comply with PSR. Newcastle are apparently considering a move. And apparently, based on that same article that I skimmed over before we started, he's not keen on the move to Saudi. Could this be someone we go for, people? Anyone having Jack Grealish on a loan spell? Or does it stink? I don't know, people. I don't think we're getting Tyler Diblin. And apparently Southampton have slapped a 55 million price tag on him. I hear it, but yeah, apparently Newcastle are moving closer to signing Mbeumo, a player I'd love at the carpet, but I can't see it happening. Real Madrid are apparently tracking Miles Lewis-Skelly as we look to extend his deal beyond June 2026. We've been linked with Christopher Nkunku. You know, Spurs won the trophy and they might be able to beat us in the race for this player, allegedly, as Spurs have made an initial approach. Apparently, we were linked with Igor Jesus. It seems like he's going Nottingham Forest. Now, is that an Edu kind of guy? Because I do think where you look at Forest, they're linked with a lot of players that used to be linked with us when Edu was here. I don't know. On the left-hand side, Nico Williams apparently is Arsenal's priority, but his wages make a deal difficult to do. Leao and Gittins have been looked at too, so we'll have to see. We are still linked with Kubo of Sociedad. I know bare Sociedad players. Apparently, negotiations are moving positively where extending the deal with Thomas Partey is concerned, and negotiations on a short-term deal with a variable wage structure have gone down very well with both camps. Edu and his team are, again, they're not going to sleep a wink. Speaking of contract extensions, the Congo's deal has apparently been extended by a year. We're still linked with Leroy Sané. Would you have that? Would you not? I know pretty sure how you lot feel. Rodrigo apparently is wanted by Chelsea and Arsenal, but there's a lot of conflicting reports. He's going to leave Real Madrid. Xabi Alonso don't want him. Xabi Alonso wants him to stay. Real Madrid want to give him a new deal. Real Madrid want to sell to raise funds. They consider Rodrigo one of them. Rodrigo feels unappreciated. Even if Rodrigo is available and he goes to Arsenal, which I don't think is going to happen, Paris Saint-Germain, Chelsea, or anyone, City with money to buy him, you'd imagine that is a future that is not going to be resolved quick. Real Madrid in the Club World Cup. Obviously, there's probably other business, like the necessities, things got people have to get done at their clubs. Rodrigo's a star. Who wouldn't want him? He'd be a game changer. He has the X factor that we require. I don't see it though, man. The fee, the wages. I mean, I'm not an accountant. I'm not Bertus. I'm not a sporting director. I think I speak for every Arsenal fan. You'd love to be proven wrong. It'd be a great shirt seller. It'd be a great statement signing. But honest to God, who knows?
You always